Don't start with a burp and blow.
You're listening to the Dollop on the All Things Comedy Network. This is an American history podcast recorded under SAG-AFTRA union contract. I'm Dave Anthony, restarted from American History to a guy who looks, all right.
Strike. I'm on strike. Meet us halfway. Gareth Reynolds has no idea what the topic is going to be about and will not work under these conditions.
What conditions?
This stuff. This is a sweatshop. You can't keep talking to me like that.
Is that why your face is glistening?
I can't believe you haven't even... I don't know how you haven't noticed the elephant in the room.
The tattoo?
No. The fucking huge cut on my forehead.
Oh, I couldn't see it because your hat was down below.
That's the idea. I'm trying to hide it.
How'd you do that, little guy?
Shower.
Okay. Are you 65 or older? What are we doing in the shower?
Asking? First of all, this union is under constant duress from management, and we're not going to take it anymore. I was shaving in the shower, which is now, by the way, have you started doing that? The kids are doing that.
I used to do that a lot, but I use, obviously I have a beard, but I use. Yeah,
but you trim here, don't you?
I use an electric.
Yeah, see, I do a combo, but I shave, I give the clean shave to the part here. And I dropped the razor, and I went down to pick it up, and I hit my head. I have a sliding glass shower door.
Sure.
And I hit my head on the fucking handle so goddamn hard. And I was like, oh no, how bad is this going to be? And then I was like, oh, actually not that bad. And then so I was like washing my face, my hair and stuff. And then all of a sudden it was like rusty. And I was like, wait a minute. And I was like, nope, it did dig me. And I was like, ah, shit. It was pretty bad.
I mean, I love it.
I do too. But then also because I'm all cut up in other way, I definitely look like I got into something.
Yeah, no. What happened there on your arm? What's going on with you? Are you being abused?
Blackberry bush.
Oh, you got blackberries where you live? You got blackberry bushes?
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, when I was a kid, we had blackberry bushes everywhere. So I was all summer long. I was just full of blackberries.
Yeah. Boy, there's an album title. Full of blackberries. Wait, Dave, I know you're making fun of me publicly, personally, but June 5th, I have a new podcast called Next We Have.
Now, this is the 8th podcast, or which podcast?
This is the 8th. Mm-hmm. And we're encouraging people to listen to it. But if you have to choose between the Dollop and that, we're saying stay here. Because we became union. So that is a chip I'll throw on the negotiating table. But it's on my YouTube, and you can listen to it wherever you get podcasts. And
say the name of it.
Next We Have. I said that.
Say the name of the actual podcast.
Next We Have.
No, but what's the...
Next We Have. Don't. Look,
if you
know what I
wanted
to call it?
What?
Segmental.
I mean, either way, it's bad.
How many really close friends do you have? And how long? I feel like you're like a pal cicada.
I don't have as many as the podcasts you have because
Rude.
I'm actually trying to bond with humans in real life.
I have bonds. I bonded with my blackberry bush.
1885, year of our Lord, Jesus Cristo, J-Town.
Sure.
Who,
no, you just follow the impulse to stop. Wait, did we even tell people we're on tour?
Got into huffing.
Stop.
Yeah, Jesus is huffing gas rags.
No, he ain't.
But it's because he's trying to bring the kids in, and he does what he can. But Jesus he's huffing. He's getting into the huff.
We're on tour, dollarpodcast.com this whole week.
But this whole week. Patrick O'Sullivan was born in Sydney, Australia.
Whoa, okay. I'm going to guess right off the bat he's part of the penal colony.
Nope. We don't know the day he was born because he doesn't have official birth records, or didn't. He's no longer
Can I make
with us.
a pitch? Better time when we didn't have birthdays. We should go back to that. We should go back to that.
I agree. But then everyone just makes them up like they did with Jesus.
We don't know when he was born. He was born on Christmas Day. Under a tree.
His parents...
Santa was a mushroom.
This is breaking news.
Jake Tapper started following me on Instagram.
Oh, my God. Oh, he would follow me for literally 8 minutes.
I know. I've got a nice thing where it's like, if you don't dig too deep, it seems palatable. But once you start digging, you're like, oh, God, all right, this guy's calling for violence in the streets.
Just put up a post about bloodthirsty Jake Tapper.
I know.
All right, so Patrick O'Sullivan's parents were Irish. His dad, Patrick O'Sullivan Sr., was known around town as Sydney's oldest cab driver.
Oh, wow. Cab driver? What year?
Well, but you're thinking of a cab. That's
yeah,
like a motor vehicle, but horse-drawn cab.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Pat didn't stay in school very long. As a teenager, he sometimes earned money by singing outside hotels with his friends.
I like that.
Well, that seems like something you would have done. If you were born at this time, that's what you would have done in high school.
Well, that was TikTok. That was what it was. You and your buddies just went and got I would have if you're saying basically I'm attention mosquito. Yeah. And I would have found anywhere to suck blood out of to fill my little butt sack.
You know what? You should start a podcast about that. At 22, he left Australia for London, where he tried drawing comics to sell to newspapers and doing a song and dance act at a music hall.
I don't like that you said this is very me, because now I'm picturing that I would do everything he's doing, and I bet this goes south.
Yep. He had mid success, mild, not very much.
How many podcasts?
Not enough to make a living.
Okay.
He then dropped the O from O'Sullivan.
That's helpful.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Get rid of that Irish nonsense, especially in London. It could have been
the Irish out.
Helpful.
Yeah.
He got a job as a and we only say that because the English are horrifically oppressive people who murdered the Irish for generations and oppressed them. And so when they came to London to get a job, they would oppress them further. That's the only reason I'm saying that. He got a job as a deckhand on a commercial ship going back and forth between London and the United States of America.
Oh, yeah. Finally to a non-colonizing zone. Great people. People very welcoming, always looking to break bread with the land they stole.
You're trying too hard.
Yeah, I'm not. Worst genociders, U.S., UK. I know the answer.
UK.
Keep going.
UK.
Keep going.
The ship transported mules. Pat took care of the mules.
Ass shit.
He did that for a whole year.
Yeah.
And then one day the boat was docked in New York Harbor and he jumped ship and swam to shore.
Okay. Okay. Is that not okay?
I mean, you're not supposed to jump ship. I assume he had a contract and was supposed to work.
That's how you get out of it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Just jump overboard.
And now we have rocket money.
Well, that's an employee.
Had rocket money.
That's an employee we don't have anymore. What's happening to these mules?
All right. So he swam.
So that's how he becomes an American.
Say that. By the way, that's how Trump views America right now. They're jumping. Oh, I don't do Trump anymore.
So he needs a job. So he got a job as a boxer. He's like, well, I can hit people. Mm-hmm. Very, very short time because he ended up with a cauliflower ear and a flat nose.
By the way, that is an Irish meal. Cauliflower ear.
You know what we don't need right now is the English talking shit about the Irish.
I'm not English at that. I'm saying it's nice to have a bit of a cauliflower ear, really. Bit of a cauliflower ear and a flat face. One of those things. Bloody hell, that's nice. With a bit of gravy upon it. Oh, that's nice. That goes nice. When Irish haze.
You know what the problem with your accent right now is his accent, because he was born in Sydney and raised by Irish parents. It is a crazy amalgamation, I'm sure, of Australian.
Austro-Irish.
Yes, I'm sure it's insane.
May I attempt it?
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was telling him the other day that I jumped ship out there. No, it's too much Irish.
Yeah, now you sound like a leprechaun.
Well, here, let me try Australian, and then I'll add in a little. I'll Mrs. Dash in some Irish. He's saying to my mate the other day that we were doing that way, and he just told him he's going a bit too hard. Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, it's almost impossible, I would say.
It just sounds like a bad Irish.
Yeah, it does. That's all right. We're still proud of you.
Thank you.
So he decides to go back to drawing because boxing doesn't work. The problem with that is he's not really a very good artist, but he's very charismatic and he's a really good storyteller, especially when it comes to anecdotes about his colorful past. So he gets a job at McClure's, which is a cartooning house, drawing comic strips that were syndicated to papers around the country.
Wow.
So he is an assistant to William Mariner, who's an old alcoholic who had he'd been a cartoonist since newspapers started printing comic strips.
Okay.
He was known for comics, which you'll know these names, like Glad Rags, the Corpulent Tramp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the best of the Corpulent Tramps.
Billy Blinks, the Boy Burglar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Wags, the dog that adopted a man.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love I love that one. Those are all your favorite out of those?
Probably the Boy Burglar. Or the
Wags
hijinks
for me.
Yeah, Wags.
It's
a
real
surprise.
It's an upside down.
It's kind of what happened to you.
What? Say it again. Say it to my face.
Okay, you were adopted by an abusive cat.
What? You got to stop.
I got to stop what? Where'd the cut come from?
This was from the shower, and this was from a blackberry bush.
For sure, man.
But Mariners... I'm in a cell.
But Mariner's most popular comic was Sambo and his funny noises.
Yeah, I really think that, and I've said this for a while, that noises translate to the written word very well.
Mm-hmm.
A zoinks, an oopsie, a kerploosh.
So Sambo and his funny noises were a lighthearted...
Sambo and his funny noises.
It's a lighthearted strip about a naive black child who gets into funny scrapes with two white kids. What? You seem uncomfortable.
It's not comfortable, but it could be worse so far. So far, I'm like, okay, this is not great, obviously, but it premise-wise, when you hear in the 1800s a comic featuring a black child, you're like, buckle up.
A common punchline is Sambo getting beaten up by the white boys.
So see, there's what I'm talking about. Now it's awful and, not to be enjoyed. So yeah, there you go. There it is. You just got to wait for the other shoe to hit the floor.
Or also getting credit for doing work the white boys have done.
Fuck me.
Could you imagine?
I bet you Stephen Miller's office is just like this all over the wall.
The amazing reversal of making it seem like the whites aren't doing the stealing.
I think that's really what is so, if I may, amazing about the whites is the way that they're the worst and then talk about how everyone's trying to take stuff away from them.
Yeah.
They steal everything and then shout, "I've been robbed."
Yes. It's really great.
And it seems to be in the DNA.
Yeah.
I can't, the nature nurture part of it is very difficult.
Yeah. It's great.
Good Lord. Every time you hear Stephen Miller talk, you're just like, wow, that's a lot of bullshit to shoot out of a fucking man.
On October 1914, Mariner was drinking heavily at his summer home near Hackensack, and his wife took their child and left, as she often did when he got really hammered. So Mariner told the neighbor that if his wife didn't come back that night, he would burn down the village. As you do, like what else? How else can handle the situation? What was her
concern with him? He seems to be pretty balanced.
Well, she sounds like she's just weak.
Once again, if it's not a black kid taking credit, it's a white woman not understanding what we're going for. I mean,
that night, Mariner lit his house on fire and then shot himself.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
That'll show her.
That's a real kablooey.
His charred remains were found the next morning.
Oh, wow.
So, I gotta say, that sounds like it worked out for everybody, but yeah.
Wow, that's quite an exit.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite a ta-ta.
Now, that's how at the age of 29, Pat Sullivan took over the comic strip Sambo and His Funny Noises.
So for him, when Mariner self-amalgamated or whatever it's called, he was like, this is great. All right.
Yeah, I got full control.
Awesome.
So he ghost wrote the strip for a year until McClure ended it. And then Pat rebooted one of Mariner's old comic strips.
See, this one we thought was in poor taste, but now we can bring it back.
Johnny Boston Beans.
All right, let's party.
Which ended in 1905, but he changed the name to someone did the research for me on this one, Sarah, and it says Johnny. So he changed the name to Johnny Boston Beans. So I think the difference is that Boston Beans is one word when Mariner did the strip, and then he separated the two words. So now it's Johnny Boston.
So
Beans.
like they were like legally we're clear.
Yes. So now he wouldn't have to pay the estate.
Okay.
That's just.
I like to call that one everything stupid.
So animation is a very new technology that's still not really popular.
Right.
Pat charms his way into a job at a Raoul Bar Animated Studios. Raoul Bar Animated Cartoons in the Bronx.
Okay.
And at Bar, he works on a series of films for Edison Film Company called the Animated Grouch Chasers.
These names are coming hot.
I want to see. I want to see that.
The Grouch Chasers.
Yes.
Have you tried to find the Grouch Chasers?
Oh, no, I'm sure it doesn't exist anymore. But
there's no way.
Grouch
Chasers, okay.
Pat is supposed to be learning on the job, but he's not really good at the whole learning student thing. Heavy drinking, very common amongst animators, but even by their standards, Pat is an absolute drunken mess.
You need a steady hand to do your animating.
That's correct.
Yeah.
He's constantly late. He's visibly hungover, and he reeks of alcohol.
Dave, I think he was drinking.
Well, also, Gareth, he's not that great at animating to start with. Do you remember that part? Like, he's not very good at it.
Right.
So this is not a good combo.
Right.
So Barr found his work, quote, unsatisfactory and fires him. Okay. 9 months. That's how long he lasted. 9 months. So Pat then starts his own animation studio.
Good.
Pat Sullivan Productions. And he's much, much better at producing than he is at animating, mostly because he copied everything he had seen Barr do. Mm-hmm. He even negotiated.
Copied his management style.
Yeah, everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
He even negotiated his own deal to make cartoon ads for Edison Film Company because Barr had a deal with Edison Film Company. So Pat adapted Sambo and His Funny Noises into a cartoon. And once again, he changed the main character's name to avoid getting sued by the Mariner family. And Sambo became Sammy Johnson with Johnssin. Johnson.
Okay. First of all, it's nice that the Mariner family is finally going to get screwed over by life. And second of all, am I the only one who's glad that the comic about abusing a young black child is back? And now we get to actually see it, move?
No, yeah, I think you are, yeah.
We get to see No. All right, hold on.
I think you are
don't woke me now. Let me finish. Don't woke me. Let me finish. It'll be nice to see it with motion.
Well, we're not. Yeah. Okay. That's great. I'm excited for you.
Don't put me on an island alone here.
You're on an island alone. The studio cranked out cartoons like Sammy Johnson Hunters, Sammy Johnson Strongman, Sammy Johnson Slumbers Not, Sammy Johnson Gets a Job, Sammy Johnson in Mexico, Sammy Johnson at the Seaside, etc. On and on.
It's like Ernest.
And the reason he's cranking them out, Gareth, is because Sammy Johnson's a hit.
Okay.
After a year, Pat hired a young artist named Otto Messmer, and Otto's father was a Bavarian immigrant, and his mother was a German American, and they both worked in factories in New Jersey, and that's where Otto was born and raised.
Okay.
So after high school, Otto trained in art through night classes and correspondence courses, and he builds up a portfolio by selling cartoons and humorous poems to newspapers and magazines. Would you like to hear a poem?
No.
One of Otto's poems? Well, okay, then I'll read it. It's called Ode to an Old Straw Hat.
People in these fucking hats.
Last spring, when the winds grew warmer, I purchased me a lid. $2 was the sum invested. My winter hat I hid. Of straw was the thing I purchased. It cooled my shining plate. But now are my teardrops falling, for we must part, 'tis fate. 'Tis weak that I thus am sobbing, and I fain wouldst can the weep, but I sigh when I think of winter, when my straw lid must sleep.
Wow. So a seasonal eulogy to a hat.
That's correct. Well, you got to put them away.
Yeah, it's tough. And just to be clear, because we've talked about a lot of stuff on this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you wore it outside of straw hat time, it was insane.
Yeah, past Labor Day, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you.
Of all the times to time travel back to, that might be the
watching the Straw Hat Riot would have been pretty epic.
Just to go back, just to be like, it's awesome.
So Otto is witty, but he's also very shy. He felt self-conscious signing his name on his art. So he would sometimes sign it with the pen name Otz, O-T-Z, Otz.
Okay.
He was inspired by the early animated films of Winsor McKay, and he figured out the fundamentals of animation. And when he was 24, he got his first animator job at Pat Sullivan Studios. As
far as how they're actually animating, what are they doing? I mean, are they like it is just the
drawing by hand
and then just taking stills and just editing stills, basically like clipping together stills? So
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure if it's like flipbooky or something. Okay, right.
I don't think it's flipbooky. I think we're actually talking about, because this is actual animation. So Pat made his animators study pictures and films of famous comic actors so they could learn their comedic timing and funny movements, which is another thing that he stole from Barr. And that's something that still happened. That's like in Aladdin with Robin Williams and The Little Mermaid. Like that's something that still is a thing. So
totally.
That's actually why a lot of the early cartoons portrayed characters in blackface, white gloves, or whiteface, because they were based on vaudeville or minstrel show guys. All good.
Listen to you once again trying to excuse away blackface again. Man.
In his first year at Pat Sullivan Studios, Otto mostly worked on a series of 12 Charlie Chaplin cartoons. Chaplin sent a stack of photographs of himself in different poses for the animators to draw him. And Otto just studied them religiously. He's not a fan of devices like Max Fleischer's rotoscope, which required subjects in live action and then drawing animated characters over them. He thought a cartoon is best when it shows things that are physically impossible.
Yeah, right.
Quote, why animate something you can see in real life? So
they still say that, by the way.
I say that all the time.
No.
I say that constantly.
No.
It's one of my most common sayings that people love in the business.
If people want to see animated Dollop stuff, go to Lakeside on YouTube.
Otto had been at Pat Sullivan's studios for a year when World War I breaks out and he is drafted. So he married his girlfriend right before he ships off. Pat did not fight in World War I, probably because he's not a U.S. citizen. He's just a guy who jumped ashore and swam here.
So wait, he goes there and then what? Oh, no, he's here. He's just not even draftable.
Yeah, Pat's I guess not on the records or something. So Otto is a corporal in the Army Signal Corps, and once he was just chatting with another soldier in a trench, looking, out on the horizon when in the middle of the conversation, just a bullet goes through the other guy's head and he dies.
Fuck.
Which will happen. That'll happen to you. Another time, someone in his unit shot and wounded a German sniper, and the sniper was still alive when the Americans got to him. Otto, who spoke German, confronted him during his final moments, and the German offered the Americans his last cigarettes. For the rest of his life, Otto almost never spoke about his time on the battlefield.
Is there any reason he didn't want to talk about it? Was it tough for him to talk about the time that a guy that he'd just been involved in murdering offered him his last smoke? Holy fuck. There is not that's quite an encapsulation of the fucking issue with goddamn war. It's just like two humans who are just like, what's this about? Although obviously Germany was pushing.
Yeah. The other thing about war is it's how all the people are fighting and not the guys who.
That's what I mean. You're just checkers. But now the good news is we don't even know about those anymore because we could just do it without. Now it's just some fucking dude in a room, just fucking, or woman. Or non-binary, just in a room with a fucking little with playing a video game where they're just droning the shit out of people
and getting deeply, deeply emotionally scarred and having terrible mental damage.
I mean, what about that seems troubling? The fact that he's just sitting in an air-conditioned room murdering a family.
In April 1917, while Otto is in the war, Pat is hanging out with Ernest Smythe, who's an old friend from London.
Sure.
He's also an animator at the studio. Okay. And Pat and Ernest begin flirting with two girls who are staying in a rented apartment in the same building as the studio. And then he's like, you want to go to a bar? You want to get some cocktails? So the girls are like, yeah, we'll go to a bar. They have a round of cream de mints. And the girls are Alice and Gladys. One's brunette, one's blonde. Did I mention 14 and 15 years old?
Yeah.
Did I mention? I probably should have started. When I said girls, I mean
literal girls.
They had run away from home 5 days before, and they just wanted to be actresses in the big city. And so they're like, yeah, we're animators. We're in show business, which impresses the young girls because they're girls.
Dude.
And so they go out with Pat and Ernst the next night. And then on the third night, Pat is like, Alice, let's just you and I go out. And then a week later, the cops show up at the studio and they arrest Pat and Ernst. Ernst is charged with abduction, which was later reduced to impairing morals, which is something you need to think about.
Yeah, I agree.
And Pat was charged with rape.
I got to be honest. I'm surprised that last part happened. I'm glad. I
am too.
But to me feels like, I feel like, like anytime you went out to a bar, it looked like a daddy-daughter dance and you were just like, yeah, whatever.
But I think because these were runaway girls.
Right.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Like it was a free for all.
It's just like when someone gets arrested for murder in the 1800s. You're like, wait, what? Wasn't everybody murdering?
So Alice testified that it wasn't consensual. Her first time. Also, he gave her venereal disease, which so he's really just a great. Anyway, he's convicted. He gets the maximum sentence was 10 years. Pat's wife, Marjorie, writes a letter to the judge asking the judge to be lenient on her husband, who's just convicted of rape. It was on Sullivan Studio stationery, the letter she wrote, and decorated with images of Sammy Johnson, the beloved cartoon character.
The judge just trying to flood the system, I guess.
Pat's lawyer also did the same, arguing that his client's
my client believes that he is working under cartoon law, where a man can swallow a grenade and survive, where if a fella gets shot 15 times and drinks water, it shoots out of him in all different directions, where gravity only exists once you realize you've bent it.
I hate to break this to you. That's not happening in cartoons yet.
Yeah, I guess. I figured. They're not there yet.
It's all very realistic.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I got no excuse then.
Well, because they're basically saying the beloved racist cartoon this is the guy who makes it.
You know, I got to say, there's been a lot of grim times in American history, but trying to excuse your venereal rape away with beloved racism, it's up there.
Yeah. So his lawyer's literally like, look, he's this animator guy, and you should give him some time off because that's really important. And so the judge agrees that Pat was, quote, a man of very considerable ability, and sentenced him to just 2 years in Sing Sing prison. In the end, he ends up only serving 9 months and 3 days. Now, his studio would close down while he was in prison, but reopened when he comes back. And in 1919,
imagine working for him. Just feel like, Jesus Christ, dude. How's everyone doing? Let's do let's do lunch in the communal cafeteria room.
So Otto comes back in 1919 from the war. The studio's open, but it's barely, at this point, it's really having a hard time.
Okay.
So Otto starts making Chaplin cartoons again, which puts the studio back in business.
You
so much business.
Having seen what he's just seen, and he's like, he's just picturing the bullet going through his friend's head over and over again.
But it turns the studio around again. Right. And now they're actually turning down work. So Paramount approaches to make a few original cartoons for a film package, which is like a bundle of features and shorts and cartoons and newsreels and stuff. So Pat almost says no because they're so busy, but Otto wants to pitch something new. And Pat says, okay, go for it, as long as it doesn't interfere with the other work we have. Like, that comes first. So Otto agrees and works on nights and weekends to complete the side job. And the cartoon is called Feline Follies.
Now we're talking.
Are you excited?
Yeah. Yeah,
it features
mischievous.
It features a black cat called Master Tom, who romances another cat called Miss Kitty White. And Miss Kitty...
Can you just make it about cats, you sons of bitches? What's your deal?
It's hot. It's sexy. And Miss Kitty, when Miss Kitty reveals she has a litter of Tom's kittens, Tom commits suicide by inhaling coal gas.
What just got said? What? This is the cartoon? Is that true?
Remember, Otto just came back from war, so he's dealing with some shit.
From war.
He's working some shit out.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm going to take the kids down to the little theater there. We're probably going to watch a cartoon. Jesus Christ.
Well, the Paramount executive in charge, John King, loves it. And
this is great. Can we see penetration? Let's see the little cat dick.
He tells Otto to make another one.
So go darker.
Yeah, make it worse.
We'll make it worse.
Can there be blood and guts somehow?
Let's really see it.
So Feline Follies premieres on November 19th,
Feline
1919.
Follies is about a litter abandoned and that Tom offs himself.
Technically, those are follies.
Now, wait a minute. I got an idea now.
What?
I'm wondering if I have an inkling of where this goes.
Uh-oh. By the end of the year, Otto had finished the third short featuring the cat, and Master Tom had a new name, Felix
Oh my God, even weirder.
Between 1919 and 1921, Otto made 25 Felix the Cat shorts for Paramount.
Holy shit.
They're popular, but not lucrative enough for Paramount boss Adolf Zucker. And in 1920s, Zucker decided to cut the package of films that the Felix series was part of. And when Pat heard this, he realized he didn't own the rights to Felix. Paramount did.
Whoops. Yeah, that's why they say never trust an Adolf.
Well, that and there's other reasons, but yeah.
No, that comes from this probably.
There was another thing. We haven't done a dollop on it, so you probably don't know about it, but it's not great. It's not animated. It's bad.
Huh. Interesting. I'd love to learn more about it.
No one knows for sure how Pat got the rights to Felix from Paramount. One of Pat's animators said Pat told the story once and only once, and given Pat's record, may not be true at all. But Pat said he got shit-faced drunk. Okay, we can obviously believe that.
Good start.
And he barged into Zucker's office, screaming that he had been robbed, and stood on Zucker's desk and started pissing all over his papers. Mm-hmm. Zucker then picked up his phone and told his attorney to hand over the rights.
Well, I mean, there's a lesson here. There's always the nuclear.
I mean, I could see that working.
I could too. Not just because you're just like, I can't be involved with this guy. Get him out of my life completely.
It's in Chapter 6 of The Art of the Deal by Donald Trump.
Never if I wanted to reenact it more.
So the story would be impossible to believe if Pat hadn't actually nabbed the rights. Maybe Zucker just wanted to get the crazy man out of his office, but either way, Pat then tried to sell the series to Warner Brothers, but they're not down.
You pissed all over another guy's desk, so we don't care to make a deal with you.
So Harry Warner reaches out to Margaret Winkler, who is his former secretary, to take it on as part of her new distribution business.
Okay.
So MJ Winkler Pictures. So from 1922 to 1925, Pat Sullivan Studios made 64 Phoenix shorts under MJ Winkler Pictures. And Felix becomes a worldwide hit. It's massive.
Right.
So Felix's physical appearance is drawn from Otto's studies of Charlie Chaplin. He communicates directly with the audience by winking or holding up a finger and doing something funny. He has signature movements, most famously pacing back and forth with his hands behind his back while thinking about a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And before Felix, cartoon characters would be designed and animated for one short film, and then that's it. Then they're done.
Uh-huh. Wait, what do you mean? They would...
You're one-off. They're all one-offs.
Oh, so they weren't like keeping cells or whatever. They're like, throw it in the trash. So the animator's like, I feel like I drew this already. Fucking, we got him walking. We got a bunch of him walking in the garbage.
I mean, so there's no franchise. There's no like... Yeah, once you're done with the character, you just never bring them back. Like, you're done with them.
Imagine.
Even the characters that did recur didn't have distinct personalities. It's just like a funny dog and cats. Like, it's not, the same thing.
Right.
But Felix has a strong, unique personality, and he breaks the fourth wall and rules of reality in ways American animation has never done.
Did he ever look into the camera and say, the guy who funds these was convicted of rape?
No, he didn't. Actually.
And the rights were returned because he pissed all over a guy's desk.
There's also this the fluid movement between reality and fantasy. So wild visual gags that Otto was so good at inventing. He like the thing you were talking about before, the getting shot and then all the like water coming out of you or like all those things This is the guy who came up with all that. Like
Right.
he took it to the fantasy level.
Right.
He took it out of reality. And it's like revolutionary. Like people are just like, holy shit.
Now, wait a minute.
You can draw whatever you want. This is.
Hold on. How the hell did he get him to fly? How do you train a cartoon cat how to do that?
Gareth, this Dollop, this podcast, whatever this is sponsored by Squarespace.
Dave.
Our favorites, our sweet, sweet Squarespace.
Dave.
We've been using Squarespace for a long time. If you don't know what it is, it's an all-in-one platform, website platform. It helps you stand out and succeed online. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out or you're scaling your business, whatever you're doing. Squarespace gives you everything you need. Claim your domain, showcase what you're doing with a professional website, show your brand, get paid, all of it in one place.
I just recommended it yesterday. My mother has a friend who I don't even know what the hell she's doing, but she wants to like expand this brand.
Let's just say she's doing she's starting a business where it's mail straight to home crab cakes.
No, we're not taking pits. It's not at all what it is. It's actually like. It's way more normal and helpful than that. And my mother's
it's called crab cake salad.
No, it isn't. It isn't. It is not. No, let me tell the story. Okay. It's not even a story. I just told my mother, I was like, go to Squarespace and you'll be fine, and tell her to do that. But you've ruined it with your little weird crab cake stuff.
I mean, yeah, but now if you go, you can get
crab cake Sally's,
crab cakes right to your house. And
no, that's not what she's offering. She's in the UK, you fool.
And yeah, but she loves Squarespace, and we don't swear during our ads.
I know.
And the reason Gareth sent Crab Cake Sally to Squarespace was because super easy to use.
Yeah.
That's why we highly recommend it. We have been using it for a long time because it is easy, and we are morons.
Your
when it comes to
website,
this
my
kind of
website,
stuff.
Dollop website, all Squarespace. Love it. We will be having merch on our Squarespace very soon.
Squarespace gives you everything you need to offer services and get paid, and all in one place. So you get paid on time with professional on-brand invoices.
You got your SEO tools.
Yep, all of it. It's all there. Makes it easy to showcase your expertise, engage with your clients, with video content on your website, upload and organize your videos, create stunning video libraries, even monetize your content by adding a paywall. So you want to put the crab cakes behind a paywall? Do it.
Why would she do that in this business that isn't real? Why is she going to put the thing that you're saying her website is about behind a paywall?
Because it makes them seem more special. It's the same thing as the velvet rope. But she's not going to make any money. No, that's not how you would use it. Well, all I'm saying is keep the videos of how to make the crab cakes behind a paywall.
So she's teaching people how to make them now? It's not even a real business.
Go to squarespace.com/Dollop for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code Dollop to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/Dollop for a free trial. When you're ready to launch, use offer code Dollop to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. And tell them Sally sent you.
Do not.
Sally's crab cakes. Why are you so mad?
Silly.
Do you not like crab cakes?
I just think the whole thing got ruined.
They come straight to your home and they're still
no,
piping
they
hot.
don't. They're what? Don't promise that.
Gareth, we're also brought to you by Helix Sleep. Yeah, girl.
California King Ducks Lux.
I use an Apple Watch to sleep, and it keeps track of my sleeps. It's like, you did good, you did bad. What are you doing? It does that kind of stuff. And using it now and sleeping with a Helix on a Helix mattress, I'm getting just, hey, great job. Fantastic sleep all the time.
The level of craving my Helix when I'm on the road is off the charts. The difference in sleep, it's astounding. It really is. Yeah, it's just like, it's so comfortable.
It really is the best. It is the best mattress. Yeah, when I sleep on the road, I'm just like, what is this? Are we calling this a bed? What are we doing?
And because it comes in because you open up the bed, part of you wants to take it to a hotel, but you can't put it back in the packaging once it's.
You can't.
It's like a genie.
Yeah, once it's out, it's alive. Because it
grants wishes and it won't go back in the bottle.
Well, it's just like you can't put a baby back in a mama once the baby's out.
Uh-huh. All right.
So we both love Helix. You took a little quiz. It tells you on the Helix
California
website.
Dutch Flex.
Yeah, it tells you the best one for you. And Gareth and I, we sleep the same, which is why we usually sleep in the same bed on the road.
We're trying to.
And we can swap beds and we can swap lives.
Yeah.
And our sleep has
Read
improved.
the fine print when signing up for this mattress, because that's the whole. I didn't realize he was legally allowed to take over my life.
Yeah, so it's a huge upgrade in mattress for us. We are big fans.
Yep.
You're going to go to helixsleep.com/dollop for a summer sale, which is from June 2nd to June 12th. It's 20% off statewide. That's helixsleep.com/dollop for the summer sale, June 2nd, 2025 to June 12th, 20% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. That's the Dollop, helixsleep.com/dollop.
Yeah.
I'll get you pregnant on that mattress, Gareth.
Dave?
Hello. It's also seen as very artistic. Before this, gags, like I said, very real, like a pratfall, stuff like that. But Felix would do things like remove his tail, use it as a screwdriver, and then put it back on. Or take the number 4 off a calendar and turn it into a chair. He can sneak into buildings.
Magician. Why are you doing that? Well, Dan, he's not real.
It's not. Don't tell me it's not real. I'm watching it with my eyes.
The tail only exists because a man drew that. Do you understand?
He took it off his bottom.
No. But
how is it a screwdriver?
He's a fake.
I feel like I'm losing my mind.
No, Dan, no, it's Ray.
I just worried I'm going to go outside and see this everywhere.
No, but honey, no.
I saw men.
No, you didn't.
I saw men killed.
No, I know.
In the war.
I know,
and none of them were able to stop the leak with a cork.
But they weren't. Nobody, even if someone were to be shot today, God forbid, they wouldn't be able to put 9 corks in it and stop the water they drank from coming out of it.
I'm not taking off my hat because there might be an explosion.
Well, what's strange about that is that we haven't seen that in any of the cartoons.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You understand how this has fucked up my world?
Yeah, absolutely. We should just...
What's real anymore?
I mean, I don't know, but I'd say the stuff Felix does is not real, and our lives remain quite real.
Oh, are you ready for deep fakes then, motherfucker?
Okay, well, let's take this outside of the theater. Let's leave the picture Haas.
He could also take the sun out of the sky.
All right.
Make it...
Okay. No. First of all, no. First of all, we'd die. First of all, we'd either burn or hit an ice age. So no.
And make it in the body of a banjo and play it. He could tip his ears like a hat.
Everyone get your hats. We're not going to watch this guy play the sun anymore.
He could tip his ears like a hat.
No.
When he was confused, a question mark appeared over his head, which he would grab and use as a fish hook or straighten it out and use it as a baton.
I have had about enough of this.
When he got an idea and 3 exclamation points appeared over his head, he could gather them, fashion them into a propeller, and use it to fly away. Okay.
The amount of people who were out there if I could just get the question marks to appear. That's the battle. Turning them into a copter's not going to be a problem.
I just love
why won't they appear?
It's just so amazing. This is blowing people's minds. They're yeah.
Wait a blah, 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 blah. People were probably put the cat in water, drown it. They're dangerous. By the way, Jose just came over very
I'm sure he did.
For some reason. He's like, hello.
So press around the world considered Felix an icon of the era. Marcel Briand of the Académie Française, quote, he becomes the impossible. Nothing is more familiar to him than the extraordinary. And when it is not surrounded by the fantastic, he creates it.
The whole thing is that even if the environment is banal, Felix will make it dynamic. It has, without question, ruined my marriage. There's no way to return home and have a conversation with a normie. After you see that Felix takes his talk bubble, expands it into an ocean, swims upon it, catches a squid, turns it into calamari, and then returns it back to its normal talk bubble farm.
George Bernard Shaw, quote.
Whoa, George Bernard Shaw.
It's
really amazing.
If Michelangelo were now alive, I would not have the slightest doubt that he would have his letterbox filled with proposals from the great film firms to concentrate his powers to the delineation of Felix the Cat instead of the Sistine Chapel.
That's pretty sad, to be quite honest with you. If to be like Michelangelo is like, un momento, no. The Sistine Chapel just walking in, just like, wow, look at that, Felix touching his own question mark where he's look at that, he's playing the banjo.
Oh, that's naughty. Oh,
that's crazy.
My goodness.
You know, the guy who came up with this has quite a checkered past.
So Felix the Cat cartoons remain very dark and relatively topical. In Felix Revolts, a town council bans cats, and Felix becomes an organizer, unionizing the cats to strike so that rats run wild in the town.
I can't. That is like, I mean, I was going to, that's just like,
that just shows
for everybody.
That just shows that Otto is doing all of the art and Pat's not paying attention because that's Otto like, going, I'm not treated well.
That's great. Look at all these dirty rats out there ruining society.
In Felix Turns the Tide, rats declare war on cats. Hell yes.
No.
Hell yeah.
We can like both rats and cats. No.
And Felix joins the army to fight on the battlefield.
His
dead
buddy
bodies,
just gets one right in the head.
on the battlefield, dead bodies pile up, clearly from Otto's experiences in World War I.
You know, my only note is when Felix says, I'm Otto, I need therapy, please help. We should lose that. That's kind of off topic.
It's just crazy how much death there. Like it's just a guy working out his shit because of fucking.
He's just fully trying to process his trauma. He has
really
PTSD,
insane.
and instead he's just animating it.
It's really insane. By 1925, Felix was by far the most popular cartoon character in the world. For many non-Americans, including Italian director Federico Fellini, he was their first taste of American culture.
Someday I hope to meet Felix and work with him.
Charlie Chaplin regularly praised him, and Buster Keaton parodied him in Go West.
Oh, really? I fucking love Buster Keaton.
Oh, he's the best.
The best.
Felix was merchandised in a way no other cartoon character
By the way,
had.
Did you see when Buster Keaton had to transition to the talkie? Like the first time we heard him talk, you were like, "What's going on?"
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because he was like so great with his face, and then he was just in a movie. He's like, "I don't know, maybe we'll call Marge," and everyone was like, "Okay, we're good to go here."
So he's merchandised in a way that no other cartoon character has ever been. He had 2 radio hits, Felix the Cat and Felix Kept on Walking. There were Felix tie pins, brooches, clocks, Christmas ornaments, cigars, car radiator caps, baby oil, blankets, radios, records, and sheet music.
Jesus Christ. So this is the full on. By the way, I can't really criticize while I'm surrounded by Jose merchandise.
I know.
But it's the first time where this is hitting on this level. It's Disney.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Felix became the British polo team's official mascot.
It's an absolute honor to finally find ourselves. Now, look, I understand that today it maybe feels low stakes, but remember, what would Felix do? Well, I think he'd take the head off of his mallet and he'd turn it into a gavel and he'd see a trial where he would say that the gentleman we're playing should no longer exist. A bit heady, but something like that could work for us.
Yeah, it's the first. He is the first giant balloon ever made for a Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade.
What the fuck was that parade before that?
I can't imagine.
Just probably us just being like, we stole the land.
So the merchandising rights are making Pat Sullivan $100,000 a year, which is about $1.8 million today. And then he got $8,000 per Felix film, most of which Otto writes and directs.
Right.
And $80,000 per year for the Felix cartoon strip, which Otto again wrote, and then he would actually sign Pat's name on it. And from 1922 to 1925, Pat made almost $19 million in today's money. Wow. And in 1925, the starting salary for an animator at Pat Sullivan Studios was, do you want to guess? A week.
The starting salary a week? Oh, God.
A week.
$20?
Less, 10.
Oh, Jesus Christ. God damn. We are sick. We are sick. So that's
sick. About, in today's money, that would be about $8,600 a year.
Fuck.
In the fall of 1925, Pat and Marjorie, and by the way,
1925
animation, what do I want to call it? Just exploitation continues today. Like it is one of the most exploitive parts of show business.
Having worked on a few animated things, the amount you kind of can't even get over the idea that factored into the budget is the work will be coming from Malaysia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's terrible.
Well, I'm sure that's going real healthy and great over there.
And it's, it's also like most of it's not unionized and you're still sending it out. You're already paying people shit in America. And now you're like, well, let's not do it here.
It's not
like,
shitty enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the fall of 1925, Pat and Marjorie went on a 5-month Felix promotional tour through England, France, the Mediterranean, Africa, China, and Australia.
Jesus Christ.
They sailed on a luxury ocean liner, the HMS Majestic. Reporters often asked Pat about Felix's origins.
I can only imagine that tale built and built and built.
Well, he would change the story depending on the audience.
Uh-huh.
But he never mentioned Otto and always referred to himself as Felix's only creator.
Ugh.
In the press, Pat used a rags to riches storyline, calling himself, quote, a poor boy who made good abroad. Sometimes Pat brought up Sammy Johnson and tied into Felix. But not Otto.
Who is Sammy Johnson again?
Sammy Johnson's the
old, right. Yeah, right.
The Sambo character that he changed to. More often, he would say his wife came up with the idea. Quote, she came bursting into the studio, carrying in her arms the most washed out, pop-eyed, half-starved ragamuffin of a cat that ever lived in a New York back street. And she said, everybody's drawing men. Why not do an animal feature? And that was how Felix began.
Completely untrue.
Just totally fabricated, 100% fabricated.
I mean, but he's trying to make up for the fact that he, that there was a statutory charge.
Well, there's that.
So, you know what I mean? You got to remember, it's always in the back of his normal mind.
Sometimes Pat said Felix's name came from the phrase Australia Felix, a term used by early European settlers on the continent. Don't know what it means.
When it was a penal colony.
There was also a 1917 novel called Australia Felix. Pat said Felix was named and or colored black after the black Australian boxer Peter Felix. Also, should I mention that Pat would not hire any black animators at his studio? But
yeah,
if you can imagine that,
that's good.
Meanwhile, Otto,
this guy's sounded pretty good, and
pretty great.
By the way, may I say, ahead of his time a little bit.
Yeah. So while all this is going on, Otto is actually writing and directing the Felix cartoons. According to Sullivan, studio animators, Pat hardly ever came into the office. Otto ran the studio when Pat was away, during which he would forge Pat's signature on checks, memos, and other paperwork. So Otto's running the studio completely.
Wow. Yeah.
And drawing. He's
the guy.
Him.
It's his studio.
It's literally all him.
Meanwhile, Pat's abroad with his wife saying that she helped him conceive it all.
This is capitalism.
Yes. Yep.
When Pat did show up, he would stumble through the doorway, hammered, toss a bag of dirty laundry to the nearest animator, and tell him to take it to the cleaners.
I gotta say, though, to only show up to work when you're drunk is pretty awesome. Like to just get hammered and be like, I should go to the office. I'll have them do my laundry.
If the animator didn't jump up fast enough to do laundry, Pat would fire him on the spot.
Jesus Christ.
What's the tinkling? Is the cat playing with something?
No, you hear that? It's a wind chime.
What is it? Yeah, I hear your wind chime.
Is that magic? You want me to close the door? It's far away.
It's fine. It's weird, but we can handle it.
It kind of sets the mood.
I'm sure somebody will scream about it, but that's just them not being able to handle.
Well, you took an icy sip earlier, and in my head I thought, there's a comment.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, we're living.
The idea of doing this without water is shocking. Like when someone was just basically like, is it possible for you guys to just hydrate before? It's like, why don't we just get IV bags? Why don't we just work for Pat?
Okay, so he would fire the guy, and then Otto would give him a severance check and send the guy home. And then the next day, the animator would just quietly sneak into work, and Pat would have forgotten about it.
So best case scenario would be to not get up fast enough when he wanted his laundry done, because then you would get severance and weekly.
I mean, yeah.
So that's what I would do. I'd be like, do your laundry, you're fired.
That's right. That's actually, yeah. So Pat's employee, Seamus Calhoun, Culhane? How do you say Culhane?
Culhane? Culhane?
Culhane? Yeah, probably Culhane. Seamus Culhane, and now there's a bunch of Irish people screaming. Pat's employee, Seamus Culhane, called Pat, quote, the most consistent man in the business. Consistent in that he was never sober. Like any pop culture phenomenon, Felix had many imitators. Cartoonist Paul Terry, creator of Mighty Mouse, introduced a cat that looked similar to Felix and was also named Felix.
Well, I mean, you pushed it.
I love that guy. He's just the least creative thief on the
just coming in like guys, I had an idea last night for how we can take a slice of this Felix action. So how's Mighty Mouse will introduce a cat into Mighty Mouse's world. Kind of a little bit antagonistic, doesn't play by the rules of physics, is not bounded by the society norms in any way.
Sounds exactly
He's got a real Felix feeling to him.
Yeah, he sounds like Felix.
But he's not Felix. And he's in Mighty Mouse's world, and I think he could be a bit of an antagonist for Mighty Mouse, which we've been looking for. I think this way we can capture some of the Felix.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's his name? What are we calling him?
We're going to call him Felix.
I'm sorry.
He will also be named Felix. He is Felix the Cat. I have to go. I'm about to golf. All right, guys. Thank you.
This is terrible. Pat threatened to sue, so he changed the name to Henry.
Did you not expect that lawsuit? How did you not the only way that's not a lawsuit is he never finds out.
How do you change it to Henry also?
Fine, we'll call him Hank. Fine.
John Bray, who had gotten an animation by faking being a reporter to interview Windsor McKay about his production methods, and then tried to copyright the methods that McKay told him about.
Wow.
And then he sued McKay for using them and created a character named Thomas the Cat who looked exactly like Felix. So animators are fucking assholes.
That is a loaded operation. I am reporting the name of the publication, The Real Times.
At Margaret Winkler's suggestion, Walt Disney, very early in his career, created a Felix-ish rabbit called Oswald, which in combination with the Disney studio style and use of sound became very successful. Okay. Now, Pat was pissed that Winkler ripped off Felix, so he switches distributors.
It's so great for him to be furious about someone stealing Felix.
It's crazy.
It's like...
It's crazy.
It's awesome. It's awesome. America's awesome.
Yeah. The new distributor, Educational Pictures, released 2 cartoons a month for 2.5 years. So when Walt Disney finds out that Otto is actually Felix's creator, he tries to hire Otto away. But he wants Otto to move to California. And Otto's like a fucking New Yorker, like one of those weird New Yorkers that can't leave the city.
Yeah.
So he turns Disney down. Although, let's be honest, it's not like Disney treated people well either. So
no, but he didn't know that. It's strange. Right. It's just strange to be under the conditions he's under, and he's just to be like, yeah, but California doesn't smell like egg piss.
In 1928, 2 talkies. So now we have films with sound. Came out.
By the way, that feels like a slur now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
It changes the industry. So the Jazz Singer and a cartoon called Steamboat Willie, starring Mickey Mouse.
Yep.
Steamboat Willie is a send-up of Buster Keaton's film Steamboat Bill. It was the 3rd Mickey Mouse short and the first cartoon with synchronized sound and music. So, good visual gags, happen in perfect sync with the rhythm of the music. It's a massive hit. People go fucking bananas. They can't believe what they're seeing.
It's so funny. It's so funny. I mean, obviously we're spoiled. Obviously we've fucking ruined everything by the amount that is thrown at us entertainment-wise. But the idea of grown adults going to watch Steamboat Willie and be like, that's it, we're peaking. When it's just like a mouse on a boat, like, I don't know, oh boy. People, like grown men were like, this is the height of cinema.
So like Pat, Walt is a very, very good promoter, and Mickey became famous worldwide as quickly as Felix had. Now everybody wants cartoons with sound, and the animation industry, which has been in a kind of a slump, is revived. So the popularity of sound cartoons, not good for Felix, who is a silent film character.
Yeah.
Pat's staff had been pushing having Felix films have sound and color for years, but Pat was refusing to do it. Quote, you don't change when you're making money.
Yep. Spoken like a true thief.
As Mickey eclipsed Felix in popularity, Educational Pictures dropped Pat Sullivan Studios. And in 1930, 2 years after Steamboat Willie, Pat gave in and said, okay, let's convert Felix into a sound cartoon.
Sure.
All right. I get it.
All right.
This sound shit ain't going away. It's not a fad, like I said.
Well, you definitely had the people who were like, all right, it's like how Howard Stern views podcasts. It's like, enough already. It's a flash in the pan. It's not going to hold.
Is that, yeah. Okay.
Is what? Him with podcasts? It's insane.
Is that how he is? That's hilarious.
Such a curmudgeon.
It's like it's any different. It's just people doing their own
like it's
radio.
any different. And like this idea of, you need to go live in 18 different markets to fail. It's like,
oh, no.
Okay. No. Okay, cool.
What?
Yeah. We've all failed a ton. I mean, it's like, whatever.
Okay. So he gives in, they make a sound cartoon. It doesn't go well. Pat had fired most of the staff and replaced them with cheaper freelances. So Felix was voiced by Harry Edison, who was a sound engineer and whose voice was whiny and annoying. So
yeah. All right. I'm Felix the Cat.
Good. All right. Let's do one more. This time, when you discover that the manhole cover is taken off of the sewer, I want you to be pretty upset about it.
Okay.
And then quickly jump in there. So let's hear the sound of how you feel the jump. We'll add the sound after.
Okay.
Of you guys.
Okay, ready?
All right, here we go. And rolling, go. good. Okay, great. The levels are a little low on our end, so we're trying to we would really like to, like, let's say someone was listening to this in a car or something right now.
Oh, okay.
We want them to turn it down when they hear it, okay? So, and also, let's hear you take the sewer cap off. Maybe it's heavy. They're heavy.
Okay. Oh, okay.
All right, here we go. All right, here we go. And go for it. Good. Got that. Okay, great. That's good. Now we're going to now we've got some more. Yeah, you okay?
I think I gotta take a week off.
No. Nope. Not in this business.
My throat is filling up with blood.
Let's hear. Why don't we get one of those? Why don't you show us how that feels in your throat right now? Good. All right, great. Let's take one.
What?
Yep. All right. Good.
I'm a kitty
Sorry,
cat.
I was talking to the guys in here. We're a little tired. We're going to take a breather. You stay in there and scream for a little while. We're going to go out for a minute. Get some.
Okay.
What do you call it? What's the sandwich?
I'm the sound engineer.
What's the
I'm
sandwich?
The sound.
Hold on.
I'm
hold on. We're trying to figure. What's the sandwich that you dip in the au jus? What's that one called?
A Russian MILF.
Okay. Wow. Nope. All right. We're gonna. That's not a good look, and I've committed the ultimate sin. So
it's not the same time periods. It doesn't mean that.
What? What are you talking about? What is a MILF to you?
It's
1928 or whatever. It's a what?
It's a little hairy rodent.
A MILF?
Yeah.
All right, pal.
I'm making a cartoon about it.
Ugh. All right.
I need emotional help.
Yeah. Well, look, stop. Just give us a minute. We're figuring out what it's called. It's a. The hell is the sandwich you dip into? It's the au jus. Anyway. All right, we're going to take it too.
A scabbage.
What? Goodbye.
So he used this guy with a terrible voice. The films were made cheaply and in a rush, so the picture and sound didn't line up.
You know, there's nothing better than not making the pivot and then rushing it and fucking it up. He blockbustered.
So good. Copley Pictures, Felix's new distributor, stopped making new Felix shorts in 1931. Again, Walt Disney tries to hire Otto away, and Otto turns him down. He keeps drawing the Felix cartoon strip for newspapers, and Pat taking most of the profits. Pat's ex-employee, Hal Walker, quote, Pat was an alcoholic and sex maniac who used Marjorie for purposes of influencing other men.
Oh, my God.
So
that's way darker.
But I don't think that he's pimping her out. I think that
but he's like
flirting
whatever.
And like but whatever.
Like
he's probably like
a sex maniac.
Hey, go. Well, I mean, we're all sex maniacs when we get in the situation.
No, I don't agree. Which led to his next piece called Sex Maniacs.
Yeah, sex maniac's not a great description.
This is a dog who loves to fuck.
Or you could, own it. Yeah, I'm a sex maniac. Yeah. Aren't you?
Oh, you take it as a compliment? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I can nut from just thinking. I'm a sex maniac.
So he's probably using her to flirt or whatever, but who knows? Maybe it was more.
I'm sure she was doing well too.
He's not a good. Well, he's not a good guy, so
not a good guy, but the loyalty to this guy is pretty bizarre.
Yeah. So Pat used his Felix money to finance a madam and open a brothel.
Okay, well,
what would you do now?
Definitely not go back into the animated world where I've had a tremendous amount of success, even if it's on the back of others. I obviously would start a Hooters ripoff.
It's just such a crazy pivot.
Yeah.
But again, he's a sex maniac, so it makes sense.
There you go. Yeah, right.
He's like, finally, I had enough money to open a place where I can just fuck.
Oh, can you imagine when the sex maniac boss walks into a brothel that he owns?
Terrible.
Ugh.
And of course,
second he walk in, I'd be itching my crotch, like, oh, hey, Pat. Oh.
Well, he did contract syphilis there.
Oh man! Finally, a contract he honored.
And he's married, Gareth.
Yeah, Time for noses to drop.
So he gave syphilis to Marjorie.
Well, listen.
And her body was covered in syphilis scars. And when out in public, she wrapped herself in scarves to hide.
She had scars? She had scarves?
Scarves.
No, you're just talking about Peter.
She was rumored to be sleeping with their chauffeur. And one day, Pat confronts them in their luxury apartment, 7th floor of the Forest Hotel in New York. And after an argument, this chauffeur storms out. And a minute later, Marjorie fell out the window and hit the ground and died.
I'm sorry. Define fell?
Well, she
In my defense, Your Honor, I've been working in animation so intimately, I thought she'd bounce back up. So he shoved her out of a fucking window after the chauffeur left.
I mean, that's how it sounds. If it's suicide or murder or an accident, it's never made clear. A lot of people in Pat's life had their suspicions because he's a drunk, abusing maniac. And her obituary in the Times said Margie had wanted to go shopping and leaned too far out the window while trying to attract the attention of the chauffeur.
She didn't know. She didn't know what she was doing that day. God, I miss her. I do miss it so hard.
I kept telling her, you don't know how to yell out windows. You don't know.
She was trying to grab stuff from the stores with her hands, but we were on the 7th floor. Sweet Marge didn't understand how it worked, and nobody grieves her more than I, her loving husband who gave her syphilis, and while we were together committed the ultimate sin and raped a girl, basically, but none of that mattered, even though we had an argument with the chauffeur, the very chauffeur she was trying to communicate with. She just fell. She fell. And as I tried to push her back up to the balcony, I tried to shove her back up, and it was too late.
It sounds suspicious.
I know.
When you put it that way.
I know.
Yeah.
I tried to shove her back up to the 7th floor as best I could.
Actually,
and she was fighting to not fall too, and I tried to shove her. It was just even thinking back on it.
I don't think you know how
a second I saw her splat, I looked up and I said, "Yes! That's what I wanted!"
What?
Oh, yeah, I was just in a lost headspace, man. I didn't know what I was doing at that time, and I saw her pass away, and I said, and now I can go do what I want with my penis.
Now, can you do this in an Australian/Irish accent?
I was basically it's just a bit different, but I thought I could maybe find a way to go put it inside of a glory hole.
I mean, that was much better.
It was a little better. It was a tough one.
Okay, so after Marjorie's death, Pat is depressed. He falls into depression, and he drinks more.
The idea of probably murdering and then being like, I'm so low.
Oh, probably. Absolutely murdered her. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I guess she could have run and jumped, but come on.
No, she was killed.
Come on. So he is very fucked up from years of alcoholism and syphilis. And in the last year of his life, he couldn't recognize Otto.
Oh.
I mean, that is.
Well, to be fair, he didn't really recognize him before that.
Yeah, that's right. Pat Sullivan died of pneumonia.
I love the like simple, like it's just like Felix. Oh yeah, I know him. Well, did you know that the studio was a little hijinksy?
So he dies of pneumonia and alcohol-related damage in the hospital in 1933. He was 47 years old.
Wow.
His company was in shambles. He hadn't kept records for years. Pat Sullivan Studios closed down. He had no children, so the rights to Felix go to his nephew. Now, Otto keeps writing and drawing the daily and Sunday Felix cartoon strips. He'd get freelance animation work. And in 1971, Pat's nephew dies. And that's when animation historians learned that Otto was the creative force, if not the sole creative force, the main, behind Felix the Cat. And 50 years after Felix debuted, Otto was publicly recognized as his creator for the first time. When Otto, 1976, when Otto was 83, the Whitney Museum showed a retrospective of his work. And the next year, animation historian John Kennemaker released a TV documentary, Otto, Mesmer, and Felix the Cat, in which Otto talked on camera about Felix in Pat Sullivan Studios for the first time. And in 1983, Otto Mesmer died of a heart attack in New Jersey at the age of 91. He was survived by his first and only wife, his children, and grandchildren. Wow. So at least he got the recognition before he died, which isn't common in this sort of situation.
No.
He should have been wildly rich. He should have been way more, successful and beloved. Almost, I would say, a Walt Disney type person. And he didn't get any of that because drunk and abusive guy.
I also think a lot, at least in this business, there are people who are geniuses, and they don't have the ability to also be, they're so fixated on the creative that they're unable to put the pieces together to be the pushy creative voice, or whatever. And, it's like, I mean, I'm sure we both in many circumstances have found the person who is willing to take all the credit and is not skilled at the work. That is a real, and this obviously to the nth degree, but that is a real trope. And I know we both personally have dealt with that before.
Yeah.
But at least he did get recognized, but also, we're just run by fucking psychopaths. And like we were saying before, it's like, money, capitalism, exponential growth, winning the money game is truly the cultural cancer of, you think of what we could have and how money completely fucks all of that up.
Well, it's a system in which once a guy's rich, everyone goes, "You're awesome." Nobody is ever like, "So how'd you do that exactly?"
Yeah. And nobody's ever like, dude, that's you're clinically insane for wanting to have $1 trillion.
Yeah. You're insane. You're an insane.
Like, think of what the internet could have done. And instead we're like, we got to get rid of it.
No, right now we're like, it's going to destroy the world.
No, and we're fully just like, oh yeah, like AI, like let's go. And I was talking to my brother last night. We were sort of talking about all that stuff, and it was just like, okay, go run your little project for if you just gave everyone a UBI and we just had that, and that was just kind of built in, then it's like, all right, at least then we're not thinking like, oh yeah, nobody's going to have anything and you're trying to do that as soon as possible.
Right. Yeah. You get to have
anyway, dolloppodcast.com. Dollheads, bring your doll heads. Get them on stage. We love them.
So this was written by Sarah Sabzi and Sarah. Sarah. Apologies. And the sources are Wild Minds by Reed Mittenbuehler, Felix by John Kennemaker, and The Birth of an Industry by Nicholas Simond and the New York Times. Boy, oh boy.
Well,
we
thought it was just a cute little cat. I thought it was going to be Tom and Jerry. That's where I thought we were headed.
Oh, yeah. No, that story is much worse.
No, that one's actually dark.
I don't know. I don't actually know. But what's funny is that was my favorite cartoon growing up, Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Insanely violent.
Oh, God.
Like off the charts violence. Like
the older I get, the more I'm like, I'm like, Wile E. Coyote really fuck the Roadrunner.
There's this whole thing where everyone's like, well, all these older people had lead and that's why they're all like this. And while, yes, I think that's a big part of it, but I also think like the media, the culture we absorbed was so fucking seeped in violence. It's
Go watch
crazy.
The Three Stooges. Watch The Three Stooges.
Yeah. Like we were just comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Super comfortable.
Yeah. Still is funny.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for listening. And
you're welcome.
Remember,
buddy. No problem.
Remember, Gareth is a problem.
What?
That's our new close.
What's your deal? I'm not. I'm fantastic.